Hey guys, welcome to Black Girls Can DIY Too. And I have a project I worked on a while back, and I wanted to show you guys how I made these Roman shades for my kitchen windows. So for this project, I went to my Pinterest and I looked up a bunch of DIY Roman shades. And I found this one, and this is the one that I followed the tutorial. I also found this one, and it was a pretty good one too. There's lots of different tutorials on Pinterest. I also looked up a bunch of different styles of Roman shades, and I decided on the ones that are movable. So let me show you how I did it. So I modified the how-to a little, and the first set turned out pretty good. But my first mistake, I bought cordless 1-inch mini blinds, and I didn't pay attention to the spring action. I started cutting the cords, and on the first one, the spring sprung up and broke. Then I realized I needed to have something to hold the blinds in place so they wouldn't spring up while I was working on them. My 2 footstools came in really handy to stretch out the blinds. I took apart the bottom and took most of the blinds off. Be sure not to let the 2 pull cords at the end loose or they'll spring up and break like they did on my first one. Then cut the ladder strings that hold the blinds that make them turn. I played with the positioning of the blinds and I decided I only needed 6. This is a panel that matches the curtains that are already in my kitchen. I cut it in half and then I cut off the top with the grommets since I don't need those. And after I cut off the top, I ironed it to get rid of all of the wrinkles. Since one side already has a seam, I measured the other side so I could sew a seam on the opposite side. I don't have a lot of sewing tools, so I use my handy square to measure a constant line down the curtain for the seam. The Pinterest instructions say to glue the hem down, but I wanted it to mirror the other side, so I sewed a simple stitch down the side. Laying the blinds on top of the curtain, I decided to make the blinds 14 inches apart for a really nice size gather in the shade. I hot glued the end of each blind to be sure it stayed in place while I fabric glued down the rest of the blind. I also hot glued the top and the bottom of the fabric to the blind assembly after I placed the fabric glue on it to keep it in place. Clicking on the blinds was no joke. It took a little muscle, but I got them in. This is what it looks like all the way down, halfway, and with a really nice gather at the top. For my next project, I'll be working on adding molding around all the windows in my house. So keep a lookout for that video on Working on It Wednesdays. So thanks for watching, and click on the link below for detailed instructions. And as always, remember, Black girls can DIY too.